I'm calling this meeting to order. We do have one confirmation with 7 of our 10 members in attendance today. We can quickly go over introductions. We'll start on my left with Matt.
Matt Caldy, Commissioner.
Sam, Chair, finishing my degree at IU this summer.
Megan Murphy, Commissioner, lecturer at IU.
Mike Whitman, Commissioner, retired from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
Don Rager, Commissioner, retired from RD Tech, and before that, the Geological Survey.
I'm Carrie Albright, Commissioner. I work with the North America Association for Environmental Education.
Nick Parkhurst, been on the commission for a long time. Was part of the environmental science group for 30 years.
Great, thank you.
I'm
on the entire stage.
Yeah,
Conservation Department and helping, since the main guys out of the office and helping with taking part.
Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. So I wouldn't know what to do if you weren't here. So the next item on the agenda is to approve last month's minutes. I want to be cautious and still go person by person just in case we have to redo it again next month. So we'll start.
I actually read the minutes.
Okay.
I moved the permission.
I was second.
Sorry. Yeah, like I said.
I don't think I spoke about the utility department and beavers. That's
Oh, I got that on something. Well, you should have let me know.
I didn't. That I forgot to.
Somebody said something.
But anyhow, it should have been. They're implementing some of their projected stormwater mitigation stuff in the neighborhoods. So that's what sort of should have been. Is anybody really going to make or break us if we leave it alone?
Well, somebody said the only thing that really counts is the votes. It wasn't something we voted on.
Yeah,
Also, my bad for forgetting to ask for a motion.
we have a motion and second as is.
So we have that. I'll start with Matt.
Yes.
I vote yes.
Yeah.
Mike.
Yes.
John.
Yes.
Carrie.
Yeah.
David. Great. Passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda is the public comment period. It doesn't look like we have anyone. Maybe Jim Shelton. I see that from the chamber though. So if you have anything to share with us, please go ahead, Jim. Otherwise, he might just be watching. Okay. That is it for public comment. Next item on the agenda are our reports. Our first one is the tree commission.
That's the Damien now.
She's not here.
She did send them.
She did send them. Did people see those via email? Have a chance to look over it? Okay. Are you okay moving on from that? Okay. Next one is the Monroe County Environmental Commission. That is also Dania. She switched with me for that. Again, she's not here today. So our next one is PFAS.
PFAS, this week's meeting, two things I thought were significant. One was the wrong. Oh, there it is. Lauren brought up one thing that coming up that I thought was particularly interesting is the state is going through a process of trying to come up with a plan of charging stations. And this, to me, this is one of the issues that is probably a lot of people are not paying attention to how e-vehicles are going in Europe. But we're to meet the federal standard. I think right now of all the charging stations in Indiana, only something like 4 of them come close to possibly meeting the proposed federal standards. But the feds will be providing money to the state then to dole out back to getting quick, rapid charging station. That was the thing that was one of the things that I was interested that Lauren presented. The discussion within the commission, they were trying to sort through how many working groups they are going to have. And the parent basically not come up with 3 basic working groups, waste and just transitions, one which I'm not particularly, I understand what they're trying to do, but it seems like they're maybe getting a little close to the territory of the Housing Commission. But the one that I really thought was very timely, that one of the commissioners proposed, is a working group on heat response. And timely.
Yeah.
And considering the fact that Columbus had 2 days after this week's storm, they still had 200,000 residents without power and life-threatening, unpleasantly warm weather. So yeah, I thought that sounded like a topic of interest. Also, there's going to be a notes here, if I read my own handwriting. On September 8th and 9th, there's going to be a sustainability conference at Richmond, Indiana. It sounded, basically bringing in all the different commissioners and communities that have commissions, and they're looking at. I'm going to ask Linda or Lauren whether she could send the link, and then I'll pass that on.
That would be great. Yeah.
What is that meeting?
It's September 8th and 9th. I'll be probably in Italy.
Italy.
Yeah. But it's, I'll send her an email tomorrow asking to send the information, the link information, so they can share it with our commission.
Great, thank you. So that's it for EDOS. URAC.
URAC met 8 days ago. We were going to meet at Winslow Woods, and then the storm came in, so we met in this building instead. So let's see, the first thing I want to mention is we talked about Switchyard Park, where they've been building up a wetland and mitigating the stream. And Joanna Sparks gave the annual monitoring report. She said the basin is looking pretty good. And recently, I think they saw an American bittern there, which is a fairly uncommon bird.
Great wetlands there.
Kind of neat to have that in Switchyard Park. The next thing on the agenda is invasive plant management updates that again was Joanna Sparks. So there have been lots of weed wrangles with over 1,000 volunteer hours in Winslow Woods Park. The Oriental bittersweet is bad, and they're now focusing on Japanese stilt grass. Next thing is the Lower Cascades project, where we actually met 2 months ago, and that's coming close to completion. They fixed up the stream, which was eroding badly, and now made a boardwalk that goes up to the actual cascade, which is kind of neat. They have 115 trees to go back in, replace some that have been taken out, and 85 have gone in so far. For education updates, they talked about various summer programs and make notes about those. Next thing was the bicentennial bond tree planting project. There are 4 sites across the city where there can be lots of trees planted. 2 of them have had trees so far. 73 of them on the east side of the city. They're all native in 11 different species. And just as a side point, somebody mentioned that the city actually has some wooden sewer pipes. Well, that's fun. Anyway, the next thing was about what's going to be called the Rogers Family Farm Project. It's now the place where the goat farm is at the south end of High Street. And there are some pretty neat plans for what's going to happen there. The money apparently is coming from the Rogers family, which is why we get the name of the Rogers Family Farm Project.
So, can I interrupt you? Did you say this is attached to Goat Farm Park?
It will.
It's replacing it?
It will replace it.
Okay, just like a title change, or they have redoing the whole.
With a title change and major with parking going anywhere, there's parking now
At the roundabout.
Various other things that are going to build there's now a prairie there, and we're going to add more prairie, I think. Let's see what else is in my notes. It'll be everything in plant will be 100% native. There are lots of invasive there that they'd like to get out. They're reseeding one area. They'll have permeable, what's the word? Permeable
Pavers.
Pavers, yeah, that's the word says for the parking lot. There will be a mowed trail in the paved trail, and there's possible ground breaking this fall. Winslow Woods property updates. Woodland was part of a farm up to the 1970s. The neighbors have been putting nasty cuttings into the park. They need to take down some cedars because of cedar apple rust, which is affecting the orchard there. And it's too bad that we weren't able to meet there. Griffey Lake project, Griffey Lake is pretty much finished. Well, there's still a lot of work to do on the trail. But, anyway, the road is now open in both directions, and on July 29th, there will be a celebration there. And that's the end of that report.
Thank you, David. Next one is the Metropolitan Planning Organization Citizens Advisory Council, and that was Titania, but she switched with me. The only new business that they had this past meeting was completing their streets policy update, which I think is kind of a little bit just like a bureaucratic sort of thing. It doesn't super pertain to environmental agenda. So go ahead and skip on that one. The next one is Friends of Lake Monroe. Is there an update from them with the new information sessions they've been having?
Well, not really. I went to the Bloomington information section, and having been on the steering committee for 2 years, I didn't learn anything. No.
Same presentation, pretty much.
Yeah, okay. About the same as what was presented here by Maggie Sullivan. But there will be an online meeting that I sent you all the information about. I sent you, I think, from Maggie, I sent you the calendar of the two meetings, one in Brown County and one in Bloomington that happened so far. And there's one of mine that's coming up. If you want to join in
the online one, I think, was yesterday.
Oh,
yeah, and I missed that one too.
Okay.
That's why I was checking my phone calendar.
Okay.
I also have something to add about Hill Farm Park, the prairie there. When I worked at Ecologic about 5 years ago, we reset their whole. It used to be a little just mowed grass turf area, but we killed the grass and put like prairie seed in there, and was doing really well for a year or two. But I think for whatever reason or not, it wasn't maintained as a prairie for a while. So I think right now that's why the prairie section isn't very biodiverse. So hopefully with this new sort of reinvigoration of the park there, that'll be a really good thing for the prairie ecosystem.
Joanna Sparks, who is the sort of leading botanist in the Parks Department, is good at that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I asked, could they possibly burn it? Says prairies ought to be burned, but it's the houses on both sides, and the smoke would be intolerable.
Sometimes they mow them instead. They can't burn.
Yeah. Ecologic has been burning recently, but as you said, it could be a very hard place to get a permit. Well,
when I was a student at Wisconsin, I helped to burn the prairie there. But,
yeah. Okay. And then MC Iris, that is our last report.
Let's see. Well, one thing, just working in the field, last couple of sessions, we've been working along the new boardwalk trail for the falls, and we were going to do that again I think last week, but with the weather conditions and the ground being so wet, Joanna and people perhaps higher than her wanted removal of some of the Asian bush honeysuckle along the path, and we couldn't really address it at the time because it was so wet that we would have probably did more damage. But it's on the radar. Definitely one of the things I think also, correct, I think Parks is experimenting, trying to control verticality, and that's a real problem along Jackson Creek, and probably I think the whole trial area is actually maybe in the soon to be renamed Boat Farm.
Yeah.
And the number of wrangles continues. Currently today we were on a second time having a wrangle at Clear Creek Trail, which blows my mind because it's a little bit out of the city limits, but it's still city parkland. But boy, it's a who's who of invasives.
At that Jackson Creek Trail, there's a lot of young tree growth going on there. Is there any plans? I mean, they're not necessarily invasives, but they kind of mess up the prairie. Is there any plans to do anything about that?
yeah, I'm not remembering that.
Hardwoods and sycamores, that's so.
Yeah, and also I think one of the things that's getting, at least for me, is becoming more and more apparent is the cow repair. I don't know if there's, it may be, it's going to be very difficult not to crack. Talking with my neighbors, I get opposition because it's quote free.
Well, thank you for the MCIRS update. Were there any other items from MCIRS?
This, well, again, the big fundraiser thing that will hopefully address some of the issues. And again, this September, that's getting moving ahead. Did I send this month's minutes?
I don't think I've seen this month's yet.
Oh, that was last week. I probably forgot to do it. I'll send out Ellen's notes maybe tonight.
Yeah, I don't see it on here.
Yeah, I have been trying to talk with the MCIRS people about the Sentinel project because it's shared turf, and the more people, more organizations it applies, the more people that participate, and we should participate.
Yeah, there's a presentation last week through the Environmental Resilience Institute that Christian, who presented for us last month, he gave a very similar one last week. He also had a speaker professor with him, but it's pretty much the same presentation, nothing very new.
The city should eventually have a point person for coordinating with that.
Yeah.
Who's making those decisions?
I'm not sure yet. I did reach out to him after the meeting and asked to kind of keep in touch with him about, that program. So if we ever find out anything about that, we'll share it amongst ourselves in this group. I think that's one of the biggest developments that can impact Bloomington environmentally positively over the next several years. So I think it's important for us to really keep an eye on that, especially leading into our next item, biodiversity working group. That, like Damian was mentioning last month, maybe there's potential for that to be a source of funding, maybe grant funding for the habitat connectivity plan. So, having said that, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about with item 6 on the agenda, and just going over the biodiversity working group. I know we haven't met since last month, so I just want to open up the floor here. If anybody has any ideas for that going forward with the habitat connectivity group, or if there's any specific ideas you have for funding from the Sentinel Landscape Program.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that is my hobby science is meteorology, and basically every day I go to one of the visible satellite websites, often many times during the day, and when you look at Weather Underground's Dayton, Ohio segment of the those satellite, the thing that strikes me just so powerfully is that I can see so clearly in the satellite image that area of southern Indiana and adjoining parts of Kentucky and to some extent Ohio, southwestern Ohio. It's really obvious the size of the potential Right. I was just wondering, yesterday I was looking, trying to find a satellite image that I could copy that would show that area of our, and because it ties in so much with our biodiversity efforts. Probably the most interesting photo program I've seen in quite some time.
Definitely. Well, with that, I'll move on to the next one.
I guess I have another question. It's just kind of to echo something from last week. I attempted to find the habitat connectivity plan online, or last month rather, and then failed to do so. Is that a thing we have on our website yet, or do we have a workable URL for it?
So you checked the website?
Not today.
Or when you want to do that?
Yeah, last month. Yes.
Okay.
But not since. I know we're still discussing changes to the website.
Dan sent around the link to that. Where is it? I mean,
the link might exist, but it might not be like on the website or somewhere where we want it to be. So it can be freely accessible to the public. So that isn't an item on the agenda, but I'll just talk about it for a second. The website, I did send out an email a week or two ago. Carrie just responded to it recently. I'll resend it out. If anybody is interested in just putting some eyes on the website, giving some ideas of how to update it. Admittedly, it's somewhat archaic. I think it could really benefit us if we update it quite a lot. So I'll send that email out again, and hopefully we can get some good engagement from our group on that, so we can get better community engagement with the EC. So
yeah, if you had to respond to the last email, but that would help on that too.
Cool.
I'm also interested in helping.
Should write that down.
Sounds like it'd be helpful for us to plan on having something on the agenda for next month to just kind of do an update on who we are, if we want to keep that on.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, before next meeting too, it'd be good if maybe we could just have like a small like Zoom meeting just to kind of, you know, bounce ideas off each other. So I will send that out too. Have a note for that. Anything else from anybody about the biodiversity working group? Okay, next one, air quality working group. We haven't met since last time. There aren't any updates except for Linda mentioned to me that the new air quality monitors are in finally, or they will be very shortly, and she can distribute them amongst us or whoever is interested in carrying them throughout Bloomington to get some good air quality data.
Do they look at ozone?
They're the Flow 2 monitors. I forget what they measure, but we went over it several times in our air quality meeting.
You know, I've been hearing on the radio that ozone is terrible.
Probably, yeah. So I'll look that up.
I don't think they did that much. I think it was
Particulate,
larger size. That I can't remember. It was only a couple things.
Yeah,
right.
particulate matter. So, yeah, hopefully the air quality monitors kind of get us going again. You know, maybe we'll have some data to kind of jumpstart stuff.
Yeah. Monday or Tuesday, I spotted on this one of the CDC websites in Canada that I think it's Whitehorse in the Yukon. Have installed a microplastic sampling system. And they apparently are one of the few cities in Whitehorse is the largest town, I wouldn't call it a city in the Yukon, but I'm going to try to contact the people from Whitehorse. I think it's Whitehorse. It's Whitehorse and Yellowknife in Northwest Territory. but one of the two, try to contact them, just find out.
The testing water or air?
Air.
Microplastics in the air.
Yeah, the irony is that The Guardian recently had an article about microplastics from auto tires. And the health-related questions that raises. And it actually is higher than a lot of the things that are regulated. If we play our cards, we might be able to be one of the communities to do some things that the bigger communities are not doing at this time. David and Goliath, I guess, is sort of
probably pretty expensive to get a microplastic, something that could investigate.
I think that's why I want to find more out about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did ask Linda if we were able to try and fundraise or anything for air quality monitors. I know they're maybe even too expensive to try and fundraise for that, but if we even had the ability to, and she's asking about that. So she doesn't even know if we can buy something like that, even if we didn't have money through our own funding for it, but even if we find a fundraising, so maybe long term to do something like that. But it'd be hard to see the city wanting to invest in something like that based off of how they have responded to other air quality machines. So, but I like that idea a lot. If you can find a link about that, you can send it to us.
I mean, it's kind of off the wall, but to me, it's like a very large elephant that hasn't environmentally been ever addressed. And when you think about your tires on the car, the amount of abrasion that plastic materials, they don't just disappear into space.
Yeah, never thought of that before. So
we're watching the streams too.
Okay. Anything else from anybody about air quality working group? Okay. That is it for working group discussions. We have no old business. We have no new business. Do we have any commissioner announcements? David?
Yeah, well, my first was the Bloomington has these wooden sewer pipes. But one thing I heard today is, what was the fastest animal in the world according to the National Geographic?
Is it not a cheetah?
Probably some insect.
Cheetahs.
That's what it is. Peregrine falcon.
So what?
Yeah.
Peregrine falcon.
It's diving speed.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I read about that, but yeah, it's impressive. You think about when they make a kill, the amount of energy that they have to do.
The rainbow shrimp. Have you heard of that before? It's obviously a sea creature, but it can't move its whole body really quick, but it can strike with its foreclaw, and it moves so fast that it creates underwater sonic boom.
Snapper shark.
Yeah, they can. You put them in. You can't put them in a tank at home because it'll do that. So they'll shatter the tank.
The amount of pressure is
this little thing
per square inch. Basically.
So while we're off track, if no one has commissioner announcements,
I got one quick one.
Go ahead.
For those who haven't seen it, the trail at Latimer Woods, it's kind of an unknown thing. It's kind of hidden, it's hard to find, but it's pretty neat. It's less than half a mile. It's a historical thing as well as a nature trail.
It's 10 to 15 minutes to walk all.
That's MCR is this year has had pretty much weekly efforts, and on the plus side, we're making some progress, but if you see the extent of winter creeper, I always thought it was being sort of pretty pristine, but
the middle's pretty good, but it's creeping in from the sides. Really,
yeah,
it's still spreading. It's still spreading.
Yeah, it's pretty well ubiquitous. And also one of again the Western Paladin and the Jackson Creek tributary. Calorie Fair, lately we've been working along the north fence line between the road that parallels the property of the mall. And we're finding a lot of seedlings and Calorie Fair. And so it was a number of invasive vines. It's so, but again, you know, doing something's better than sitting there.
Some interesting history related to Latimer Wood. It's part of what was one of the covenanters, the Latimers were covenanters, and they had a farm, which was part of their farm. And so is College Mall, and so is Bloomington Foods, and those properties are still owned by the descendants of the Latimers. So they leased them to College Mall and Bloomington Foods and so on.
Yeah, there's historical plaques on the trail about all of that.
Do they have trail parking there?
It's in a development. Apartment development. There's lots of extra parking.
There's visitor parking in the apartments.
There is the name for it is for Clarence and Lizzie Latimer.
Really?
I didn't know that. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wow. It's really interesting. Well, I'll have to take my dog there this weekend. I haven't actually been there. I've driven by it a million times.
Have to look it up on GPS or website or something. The trailhead's not well advertised at all. It's behind the building.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I always wondered if there was any excess, and it wasn't until we started to do weed wrangles there that I knew that there was a trail in the park. But it's not something that a lot of people would easily access, because along the north side of the park there's a fence, although there's a couple places where the fence has been taken pretty much down by auto accidents on whatever the name of that street is. But
Buick Cadillac Drive.
yeah, but there are some really impressive trees still there that worth seeing. Question is, if more people come there, will we end up with more problems?
It's probably perfect time.
One announcement, just a fun announcement.
Yeah.
So, Metropolitan is doing a citizen science project for firefly communities. It's basically like with Tufts University, and just to kind of see where the population is in, not just, I mean, it's a good thing for younger folks who learn about citizen science. It's also something that is kind of nice. You just like to sit on your back porch, or have a place you can like sit outside. It's like 10 minutes a week or something. You go and walk on and play data and stuff.
Can you send that to us?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big project inside you have stage selection. I had one in my house.
I had my first mosquito yesterday.
They're coming in my house.
Oh.
I'll send this one out to, because Christy Lindbergh sent out to, I think, a lot of the park volunteers, with the Hoosier River Water Basic Trading. They're going to have a virtual meeting planning on the 26th, and then at Cascade, they're going to have a field training on the 26th.
For what again?
Hoosier River
Watch.
The river watch.
Yeah,
Water.
you adopt a section of river in one.
So that's, I'll send that out, because I just got that today, Rich.
It includes both chemical and biological sampling for little bitty things in the water and chemicals.
Yeah, send that out too.
Team entomology starting next Tuesday. These are very timely.
I think I did that maybe like 10 years ago or something like that. It was really
Entomology.
I teach just all entomology, so
Yeah. That's cool.
all the projects.
That's really cool.
Get my students started.
Well, thank you everybody for a great mission meeting today. I know it's super long and you're ready to run out of here. So I know it is middle of the summer, so thanks for making it out today. Appreciate it. Meeting is adjourned.
Okay.